I started spending time as a consumer on social media, but rather than doing it in doom scrolling, I'm studying social media. I'm looking at it as like a subject matter and thinking like, why does this piece of content go viral? And why is TikTok this type of content works, but that content doesn't work on Instagram? I think you start by producing, and then because you want to be a better producer, you start consuming from a different mindset, which allows you to look at social media as probably a productive use of time. How can I use this as a tool to grow my brand or my business or my message?
So with that being said, give it up for these ladies and gentlemen. I also want to say how rare it is to have this many heavy hitters right here. I mean, you see this guy all over the world. I mean, Top Dog Law, you can't get away from him. I drive home, I see him 8 times. I'm like,
I'm in Philly.
yeah. And then Philly, where you just came from.
His face.
You should have brought the blow home.
You really should have had the money in the phone right here.
I'm so far. This is my guys. When I see him, he had his first billboard.
Yeah, we came up together in Philly, 2018, 2019. Built our social media profiles together. So I found out last minute actually that Derek was coming. We live in the same apartment complex in Philly.
Oh, wow.
Literally built our things together at the same time. So,
Yeah, it's like my brother.
yeah, pretty cool.
I love that, man. And also, I want to say, like, just having friends that have been with you since day one, like this, they told me, actually, Derek, I was on a FaceTime with him. I'm like, so you saw him recently? He's like, yeah, man, I haven't seen him in years. And then I was courtside and I looked over and he was courtside. I'm like, that's dope. Leveling up with your friends. Like, you guys are grinding together, haven't made it yet. And you're like, that's my dog courtside. Like, I just love that story, man. It's so amazing. And then, yeah, Boone and I got connected. And also, here's the thing. You're on stages speaking. All these people are like on stages in front of hundreds of people, maybe even thousands, some of you. And we're here in this intimate environment where we can go Q&A back and forth. So I want to keep this very, I don't want to be talking the whole time. I want you guys to be asking questions. But Boone, I'm so glad we got connected through our friend Mark. Again, relationships. Kara, we got connected also recently too.
Yes.
We were at James Denard's TV show premiere. And then we hit it off, and then Zach Keeps is a friend of ours. And that's how we got connected, and this energy is amazing. And I'm like, oh man, she's in Arizona. And I want you guys to all do a 30-second intro. Pass it down to Devin to go this way. 30 seconds is what you do, who you are.
So who I am, first and foremost, is a husband and father. It's the main thing. I love my girls. I've got 2 daughters. Wanted a boy both times, and the way I used to be as a youth, God gave me 2 daughters. So I'll have a boy eventually. We'll see. But then, as far as business, I do real estate. I transitioned into infinite banking, so I still do real estate. I just funnel everything through life insurance first, and then I use the money. So I'm making money in 2 places at the same time. And social media, I'm at like 1.1 million.
I have to follow that. My name is Tessabella. I've been in the real estate space for about 11 years, and I really kind of found my zone of genius on the side of marketing, content creation, and lead generation. I really focus on helping people with social media and refining a content strategy to actually, show themselves off, make true connections, and then turn those connections into business. 64,000.
Kara Beckman. My company is Beckman House, and I started in 2016. And I started when I was making $35,000 a year. And now I have a multi-million-dollar rental portfolio. And so I think there's a huge thing to be said about having a side hustle. And then you use that side hustle until that becomes your day job. And that's exactly what I did. And now I do a lot of high-end luxury fix and flips and client designs, and very passionate about tax strategies as well, because we don't want to pay taxes on the money that we're making. So I have 99,000 followers.
Let's help her get that one more for 100.
Hello, everybody. My name is Derek Boone. I'm a real estate investor in Philadelphia. We own millions and millions in real estate. But as far as the social media aspect, I just got into real estate coaching where we help people get started in their first property. My goal is to help people buy 3 properties in their first year. With the coaching program, we have made millions per year doing this business, but then the word kind of got out how we're doing it, winning ClickFunnels awards and things like that. So I started helping other individuals do the exact same thing without I have 150,000 followers, but I help other people do it. They have 20,000 followers, 50,000 followers. One of my clients right now, they have done, as of yesterday, we got the sales report yesterday, so far they've done 2.1 million this year so far, just in their offer. So that's one of them. A couple other clients, we've done millions, and then pretty much everybody else, every single client we have do multiple 6 figures. or at least we have 3 clients doing millions within they 1 year in their social media platforms. And then I have $153,000. So
What's going on, everybody? My name is James. I'm the founder of Top Dog Law. I went into a very competitive B2C personal injury space, really without any money. I started my law firm right out of law school. And so my differentiator was to be a lawyer creating engaging content on Instagram. And so I did comedy skits, collaborations with influencers, rap videos, anything I could do to get attention. I built that platform to about 450,000 followers. And then as the law firm started to make money, I was able to take the money that I made from case settlements and reinvest it into traditional advertising and then also paid advertising. So I still do organic. That's kind of where I got my start on social media, but also now we're heavily into paid marketing, including paid ads across Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and then traditional media like TV, billboard, radio.
Well, let's do snaps.
How many followers?
How many followers?
Instagram, we have like 450K.
Okay, let's just leave Devin up here.
How many buses? You have more buses than anybody else. Like, where do you do that?
Yeah, a lot of buses. So I actually want to kick it off because I'm curious. What's the main way that you guys leverage social media? Is it for lead gen for your coaching program? I just kind of want people to understand a little bit more about why you guys do content. So for you, like, why do you use content? What does that help you in your business with right now?
So where I'm at with content, and I've been on the content treadmill for 5 years, right? And doing content consistently over 5 years is a huge commitment. I don't use it for a personal brand at all. It's solely for Top Dog Law, how to get people injured in accidents. We signed 30,000 customers last year. This year, our goal is to sign 50,000 customers. And my social media platforms are tailored for that purpose specifically and only that purpose right now.
When we first started social media, I started as a real estate agent, so we used that solely to bring in leads and bring in clients, which worked very, very well. And then we kind of transitioned to utilizing social media to get deals. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people that know people that have houses they want to sell. So my DMs, and it's funny, it's the people that have 10 followers, 20 followers, someone's grandma, someone's aunt that's just on Instagram, just scrolling. No picture, no avatar, but then they're saying, hey, I have 2 properties I want to sell. I see you do this. So we did a lot of deals, a lot of wholesale deals, and purchased a lot of properties through social media. Now we utilize it strictly for the coaching program and helping other people do it. And the reason why I want to touch on that is because a lot of people think they need a whole bunch of followers to do that. As long as you're cultivating your client, your messaging, it's all important in the messaging. I would rather have, let's say, 20,000 followers, but my messaging is important where we're getting an audience that actually wants to pay. Instead of just getting a whole bunch of likes and a whole bunch of comments, no, we want to have people that actually comment, that send us a DM saying, hey, I saw that post you made where you were talking about this specific strategy. Hey, I'm interested in more in that. I'm willing to go and invest 5K, 10K, 15K, 20K, whatever your program is. And that's the thing that people need to understand, not so much about the follower count, but the actual quality of the individuals. Because I know a lot of people that have a bunch of followers, but then it's all people that just want to like and share and things like this.
All right, who's up?
All right, so I started my Instagram really just as a place to kind of house my pictures because I had a personal Instagram and my friends back then, this was 2016, they didn't really want to see my renovations. And so I thought, well, I'll start a business page where I can really just have my before and afters and kind of create my own portfolio. And I started doing a lot of DIY projects, a ton. And so I would show these projects of me demoing houses and doing backsplashes and all of the things. And then through that, I would gain followers. Then I kept doing a lot of DIYs, and then it kind of transitioned into more of the showing the aesthetics of the home. And through that, I gained a following where they would come to me and ask if I could redo their homes. And for a very long time, I said, no, I'm just in this to flip. And then I got into a situation where I was so low on cash because I was in so many projects. Someone asked if I would do a home renovation and it just hit at the right time. And then ever since I took on that one client, it allowed me to have more content, which was awesome. But more importantly, I could try new things and showcase that. And so now all of my clients, I'd say 99.9% of them are from social media. So I think there's a huge thing to be said about showing up authentically. And a lot of these clients hired me sight unseen. Some of them were from out of state. They bought a house in Arizona. They said, I've been following you for 2 or 3 years, and I see that you're showing up to projects. So they're watching you. People are watching you for years before they make the decision to hire you. And that's been huge for me. I've never paid for advertising, and it's all been through Instagram.
Initially, when I started with social media, I honestly got into real estate because I loved HGTV and I thought it was going to be just like that. And so I thought I'm going to take my Instagram and treat it like my own TV show. And I literally just documented absolutely everything that happened, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that was honestly what I think helped me to build an audience that's not just, growing in size, but really believes in me and trusts me and enjoys the journey. I think so often we feel like we have to be totally established, have it all figured out, only present ourselves as this professional and this expert. And in reality, I find that a lot more people enjoy watching the journey and watching the process, especially like some of my highest engagement content is the stuff where I'm sharing the less pretty side of what's really going on behind the scenes. And I think it really humanizes it. So it's a huge lead generation tool for me now, but more than anything, it's a really big community builder. It helps me to build that connection, that intimacy, that trust with people. And it's helped me to build an audience of people that refer me business, that send me things, that ask me questions, and that want to align with me whenever I launch something or talk about something.
So I started my social media reluctantly. I was talking about this concept of infinite banking in 2020. I'm telling everybody, and everyone's like looking at me like I got two heads and a tail. And then I was in a mastermind, and a buddy of mine, he said, "Why don't you get on TikTok and start talking about this? Maybe you can grow a following and monetize it somehow." Mind you, in 2020, my daughter was 14, and only thing I knew about TikTok was dances. So I'm like, why would I ever get on TikTok and start dancing? But he's like, no, it's transitioning to more of like a adult platform where you can give, information and that kind of thing. So I made my third video, went to bed, woke up, had 17,000 followers overnight. So I was like, okay, this might be something. So I just kept making videos, and then that's up to like 800,000 on TikTok. I used it for years to generate leads, put them into a funnel. And now recently I'm using it more as social proof. So I'm running ads, and like when people see ads, they've never seen me maybe before. So they're like, look this guy up. They look me up and they see I've got all this content, these followers, they've got the long form, I've got the short form. So it gives me more credibility with my ads. It's not so much of a lead generator anymore. If that makes sense.
So let's say you have somebody who has a message or something that they have passion for, and they recognize that it is a potential platform for growth and to get that message out there, but they really struggle with genuinely and authentically engaging with social media. How would you suggest that they get over that hurdle to start putting out their message?
So what I did is I would have someone kind of follow me, the camera, so that, and then just be like, every once in a while, like record something. If it looks like I'm saying some really smart shit, record it. You know what I mean? But I would get really nervous, like holding a camera up, because I'm like, what do I do with this hand? Is this my good side? Is this my bad side? I don't like the shirt. So then I'm sitting there trying to edit. I used to edit all my videos. I'm like, oh, this is stupid. Let me redo it. I'm spending hours doing it. So then I'm just like, let me get candid content of me just talking about stuff. And that's been my biggest, like, ones that have blown up with millions and millions of views, where I'm at a dinner, someone just like pulls their phone out and is recording what I say and then edit it out. So, but then once you see you've got millions of views on something you said that's just coming from between your ears, it gives you confidence, like, oh, I can grab the phone and do it. Now I've got some things that people want to hear. So I think it's just getting the reps in, and it's not like scripted. It's just, you know what I mean? Someone following you with a camera. That's it.
Into that real quick. I will also say I've always loved the phrase action alleviates anxiety. So I think a lot of times we get really in our heads about creating content. So of course, picking a platform that you're going to focus on, I think is really helpful. You need to determine who you're trying to get in front of, but also I think the platform can kind of help you ease into your level of comfort. Some people will be much more comfortable filming like a sitting down, talking to the camera YouTube video versus being out and about, having somebody film you, and vice versa. So picking the platforms I think is really essential, and then just starting. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. And all of a sudden you're like starting to realize that every single thing in your life can be content if you approach it that way. But before we do that, we get overthinking, we're comparing, we're looking at other people's stuff, we're saving for inspiration, and then it just kind of like collects digital dust in our drafts. So I think the actual first step is really just pushing yourself to do one.
I'd also say consistency is so important, because if you have an awesome message and then you don't show up for a few weeks, it gets lost. So if you continue to show up, even if there's not posts that you really love, or if a message doesn't really resonate quite as much as the first message, the fact that you're continuing to show up, that really builds trust in an audience. And I think that's really important. Consistency piece.
think a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we all do this except for social media, try to get highest and best use of our time. Whether we're doing a project with the highest and best use of this build, whether we're doing some type of infinite banking, what is the highest and best use we get of this insurance policy, but instead of social media. So what I mean by that is, okay, what day do we have the most meetings? What day do we have the most we're checking on properties? Okay, that's your content. So now you're going to have whoever record you while you're going from project to project to project. That clipped up, that might be 20 videos right there. Or you might have an important meeting which is not too personal, but you're just giving information to a client. Okay, and the content or the camera just record the entire session. And that could be a whole bunch of 60-second clips that get clipped up. But now you got content for the next month off of one day. So now you're trying to get the highest and best use of your time and your day and just utilize them for repurpose. How can I repurpose anything? You have a podcast. So now I know it's kind of like audio podcast.
We do. It's on YouTube too. That's actually not even what I would promote because that is very specific to a company and our ICA, and it is. I mean, our company's grown massively with a little tiny nothing following because it's so focused on this particular ICA. So that I'm not worried about. It's like to be like vulnerable and honest. I really fucking struggle with social media because I don't care what any of you guys are doing. I think it's weird you care what I'm doing, and I don't mean that in a mean way. It's just I've never gravitated towards social media. I'm not going to look up. Tessa always pops up if I ever go on social media because she's like one of the only people I like her stuff. But then I never start the endless scroll because I just pass through it. But I do recognize, and I've had a couple people come up to me, and what you said to me, Nate, yesterday is like, you should be getting this message out there. I'd love to watch what you did and watch you work with other entrepreneurs and do that live. And I realized like if I can add that value to the world, I should be doing it. But I'm like, what is wrong with me that I'm almost, I don't know if I'm scared to get the message out there or like why I have this block with social media.
You know what it is? And as entrepreneurs, we do this sometimes, especially on social media. We count other people's pockets, we count other people's minds. You're thinking that someone doesn't have the money when they actually do. You're thinking somebody doesn't care when they actually do. One of my good friends said this to me. He said, a lot of people don't want to become 7 or 8 or 9 figure entrepreneurs, believe it or not, but they do want to see what that feels like as the lifestyle. So you just taking a 60-second clip of what you think was I say direct conversation, but that 160 seconds of that whole conversation might be something that's like, yo, that was game changing. Like, for example, you're chasing 9 figures, right? Somebody maybe just be chasing 7. You're thinking like, oh, this is just nothing. This is something. To me, that's amazing. You say one little piece that changes the world for me, that's everything. So I think really looking at what you have, not even you looking at, I think you need to stop looking at it. Give it to someone else and they look at it and they take out the pieces that makes that change their life. And that's what you should go ahead and make.
Can I say one other? I also think if you can reframe the mindset around it as well, if you have a great message that resonates with you, chances are that will resonate with so many people. By you not putting that out in the world, you're doing a disservice to the people that need that message.
Oh, let me add that real quick because I'm thinking like the exact same thing. Like you and I could say the exact same thing verbatim, and people would connect with you over me, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Just because, and if he said it, like just because of how we look, right? She could say something that I'm saying exactly the same way, but people will connect with her that would never connect with me. So like if you don't say your truth, you're keeping that information from millions of people that would only connect with you. You see what I'm saying? So.
Can I say something real quick? So everybody in this room was here yesterday, right? If you could tune in and watch Jared go through and do what he did yesterday with 2 or 3 high-level business entrepreneurs, not just one, but navigate through the way that he did yesterday better than Oprah could do it. Would you tune in and watch it? Like, I would listen in and I would watch every single one because it was truly incredible to watch you navigate through that. And I don't know if everybody feels the same, but I would absolutely tune in and watch it.
Oh, actually, one thing that might be helpful too is I didn't have an Instagram account until I started Top Dog Law and started posting. Like, I generally believe I do not want to be spending my personal time as a consumer of social media scrolling and watching other people's lives. I don't think that's a good use of my hours of the day. And so some of your social media reluctance might be well placed, right? Is like, hey, I want to be out there doing it. I don't want to be a consumer. And so I think becoming a producer on social media rather than a consumer. Social media is a tool. I want to be spending my time on social media creating content for others to engage with, more so than engaging with other people's content. But then once you start doing it, what you find is, oh my gosh, I love the subject of social media. Now I'm getting into what makes a video go viral. Ooh, look at this hook. Look at this call to action. What about this video made it go well? So then I started spending time as a consumer on social media, but rather than doing it and doom scrolling, right? I'm studying social media. I'm looking at it as like a subject matter and thinking like, why does this piece of content go viral and this one didn't on Instagram? Why is TikTok this type of content works, but that content doesn't work on Instagram? And so then it's like, I think you start by producing, and then because you want to be a better producer, you start consuming from a different mindset, which allows you to look at social media as probably a productive use of time, because then you're thinking, how can I use this as a tool to grow my brand or my business or my message?
I want to add in too. What's the actual goal? Are you using this to just be famous on Instagram? Or are you using this because you're trying to build leads? Or are you trying to build consultant clients? Figure out what exactly the goal is, because then if your goal is to get consultant clients, you don't need to be famous. You need to have 1 or 2 or 3 pieces out a week with a strong call to action. That's going to fill up the whole week with your calendar, because you might have 3 pieces that say, hey, look, these are 3 steps that I took that's going to got me from here to here. Be somebody like me, I'm a DM you. Hey, how can I do this? How can I sign up? How can I, schedule a call? If that's your goal, then you don't have to go viral. You don't have to be famous. You just need a couple good pieces with a strong call to action, good messaging that talks directly to your ICA. Like, I might not even post every single day. I might post 3 times a week, but then my DMs are going crazy. And that's what I really want. I don't really like Instagram myself, to be honest with you. I'm planning to go ghost in a couple years, but we do what we need to do now to build in the clientele and things like that.
I'm curious because he had a whole session yesterday and it was amazing. Would clipping that up? Because I'm gonna give you that concept.
I was sold.
Yeah.
I was sold.
So I'm curious, is that something like if he keeps on doing those type of sessions with people live, should he clip that up and post that type of stuff? So you already have some content.
Even just simulate.
Did y'all get some of that?
Yeah, he's gonna get all of it.
All of it. Yeah. That's funny. You can't do that
not
otherwise.
only that, but the strategy doesn't necessarily have to be strategy. It doesn't even necessarily have to be to create and put something out. Like, it can be a byproduct of whatever you're doing, right? So it's like the concept of document, don't create, where you're just living an interesting life and making an impact on people. Like, we've all been impacted. Like, every single person I've talked to has been like, yo, that was not just like, oh, wow, Jared said smart things and people said smart things and I learned from it, but like the energy and the atmosphere that you created, it was almost this like intangible thing that we all felt. Like, it was like a pretty magical experience, for lack of a better word. And if that was just like captured, like, you're doing this thing, I'm sure you have conversations like that with people in your life as you're just going on anyway. Like, if you literally just like capture those moments and released it, like, you wouldn't even necessarily have to be the one that's like laboriously trying to come up with stuff and putting your message out there. You could literally just like, you are your walking message. Like, you're giving your message even like right now, just interacting with people without even thinking of it, because your message is you, right? So just like documenting rather than effortless or putting effort into create, and then letting that get released out into the world so that it's a byproduct of what you're doing rather than like a major focus.
Ken,
This is your therapy session. I know.
Thank you.
you sold it to us. We're coming back to you right now.
I'm so glad I came. I wasn't going to come this morning.
My favorite.
My version to it. Like what? Like the story. You talked to us about how somewhat personal brands, even with Top Dog Law being the brand, your face is still all over it, right? So how do you separate those? What are the trade-offs? What are the negative things that come with building a massive brand like that?
Big person. I live in Philadelphia. I always lived in like downtown. Well, we live in another part, but after I moved out of that building, I lived-
He taught me don't post my address. I used to do it in front of the door. He's like, bro, the address is in the back. It's not.
So I moved downtown. I was living downtown for a couple of years, and I moved from downtown Philadelphia to the suburbs of New Jersey because every time I come down to the lobby, there will be somebody say, "Hey, I just seen you post." Especially if you're running ads, you're definitely gonna get posted. What really made me do it is the basketball court in my apartment building is like all glass, so it's like
I used to cook them on that court.
But somebody actually was driving past and they stopped and got out the car and then came all the way around to the building. It was like, "Yo, I've been DMing you, I want to get with you." And that's when I was like, okay, so that's probably the trade-off, honestly. He likes this stuff.
Is it worth it? So I heard you say you're going to ghost and live it once you get your.
You make money off this, yes, so we got this.
No.
Now my neighbors don't know who the heck I am.
Well, top down movement and follow.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
jokes,
he's crazy.
He advertised with buses.
all jokes aside, though, like I think I've had to go through that probably, as much as anybody. And I don't mind the attention that comes with it. I think what the bigger issue is, a content is a treadmill. Like you hear these YouTubers, like they start creating YouTube content. If you ever stop creating YouTube content, your platform dies. Right. And so it's from a scalability and longevity perspective, it's like, man, when you get on that treadmill, you have to stay on the treadmill over and over. And I would guess most people here are on the treadmill, right? Like you go off on your channel. So recently, one thing I've had to do is I have like a content bank. And so my team is actually taking clips of older pieces of content and working with them. So we're not recording. And now when I am recording, doing like paid ads or very specific content shoots, because to be honest, I'm tired. Like I've done content for a long time and it's exhausting. And so, my personal feel knowing you and having the relationship we have is like, you just had an exit, you're good. Like just because some people are doing content doesn't mean you need to do it, and like probably not a good fit.
I always wouldn't do it. Yeah, I would. After our conversation, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think there has to be a reason behind it. Like my reason now, it's to get clients and it's to give away a lot of free value. And then when I have an ask, I have this good community, but there's a reason behind that. And I don't show a lot of my personal life on my business page. I have no interest in that. It's about houses, it's about design, and that's it. Like I don't post my personal residence. I'm very private when it comes to that aspect. And that's not what my Instagram is about. It's about showing people houses and business. So.
Yeah, I would say in the same way that I talked about, like I started my social media kind of treating it like my own show. You also are the producer of that show. So you get full creative control of what you do want to show, what you don't want to show. And there are plenty of people that show everything about their lives. I'm not one of those people, and yet people are always seeing my stuff. They're always talking about, you pop up for me all the time. And yet majority of that is filmed like either in a studio or in an office or like these kinds of things where people don't know anything else about that. I share by choice some things about my personal life, like on my stories and stuff, just to connect a little bit more with people. But I think it's just a good reminder that you have complete control over what you do or do not show. I meet people all the time and I didn't even know they had family because they've never shared it on social media. And that's fine because they're protecting that piece of their life. So I think it is up to you on how much you want to show and what you're comfortable sharing.
I'd say one of the biggest trade-offs is you're going to get people that absolutely hate you. You're going to get people that love you, they'll support you, they'll back your message, but then you're just naturally going to have people that just don't like you. And that's been a hard thing for me because I feel like I'm a likable guy, right? And it's like if you knew me, you'd probably like me. But like I would always get into the comments, and to grow the social media, I would actually poke the hater because haters they'll just keep hating. Like, they'll just like keyboard tough guy, right? So they'd be like, "Oh, you're an idiot." I'm like, "Well, why am I an idiot?" And they're like, "Because of this, that." I'm like, "Well, tell me more." And then I was reading so much hate that like it was getting in my head, and I started having negative mindsets, and like I had to totally delete social media for like a month to like get rid of it because it was starting to show up in my life that I was being negative in my life just because I'm so involved in this negativity. It was growing the brand and growing because more people hate. Algorithm pushes out the people that are going to love them. You know what I mean? So I've been through those ups and downs of it. The one thing I will say though is it's really, really cool, and you can probably test this, when someone sees you out in public and they come up and introduce themselves and they're like, "Dude, you have changed my life."
That's the amazing part.
It's amazing. Like I've had people like follow me in my car because they see I've got my tag on my window, and then I'm going to the gym and they're like, "Mr. Burr." I'm like, when I hear Mr. Burr, I think of my dad. So like I'm like, "Yeah, call me Devin." They're like, "Oh, Devin, I follow you. You have changed my life. I've been doing everything you said." It's like it's such a good feeling. It makes all that negativity worth it. because you've got a tribe, but then you've got everyone else. And everyone else will help you build your tribe, but it's just now I've got a team that goes in and messages all the people back so I don't see all the negativity. You know what I mean? I've got a team that pokes people. So,
Yeah, I've been thinking actually a lot about that too, which is like, I think I would want a break after, you get an exit, right? You want to take a break, but what a tool for like service, right? If you're like, okay, how can I impact as many people? You're never going to be able, it's just scalability, right? It's like on a one-on-one basis, working with entrepreneurs, it's like how many people can you really affect? But it's like, if you have a specific lesson or message you want to get across, it's like, could you reapproach social media as just like a fun experiment on how you could serve people? And what's cool about social media is sometimes the authenticity of that type of a thing would shine through, and then people would really gravitate to the message.
Good question.
I actually don't.
Ramon, no, Melissa. Melissa.
I kind of agree what you said about changing people's lives. What's the level of pressure that you have when you have such a following and the impact that you have? Because as much as you change many, many lives, like, how do you prepare yourself to be such a leader when you make such a platform?
there's the times where built this following. I was at like 700,000 followers at one point, and I'm like, this is insane. I'd go to like a sporting event where there's like 15,000 seats, and I'm looking around like, multiply this by this many, some people follow me. Then it puts pressure on you, like they're expecting something from me. I've got to show up and like give them something. How many times can you say the same thing over and over and over again? Flip it, word it differently, have a different hook. But it's just the same thing I'm always saying. If anyone's seen my content, I talk about the same shit over and over and over again. So then what I started doing, and this is kind of going against what a lot of people think, is I started getting into like my personal life, showing my daughters, I wouldn't show my dress, but showing my daughters, showing that I go to the gym, showing what I eat. And then people can relate with me more. So then I've talked to people that are like, hey, how's Brooklyn? I'm like, do you know Brooklyn? It's my little daughter. I'm like, oh yeah, put her on. Like it's like they know me. And then all of my leads that come in, the conversion of it was extremely high because there's a level of trust. I feel like they already know me because I'm putting things out there about my personal life. And it's just one of those things where like it's pressure though. Pressure either bursts pipes or it makes diamonds, right? So that's again one of those reasons I've had to take time off of social media because so much pressure has bursted pipes in my life before. Then it's also made diamonds. So it's like it's just figuring out kind of your ebbs and flows.
I would just say, like, for me, I don't feel the pressure because I'm showing up authentic and the people that are following me, they resonate with me and they already are resonating with my message and they choose to continue to follow me because what I'm putting out resonates them and it's helping them in whatever aspect that, maybe it's they're building a house or I do talk a lot about financial stability and especially for women. And I have had women come up to me. I was doing this financial course and like that changes everything for me. When I can help someone truly change their life, that's the reason for it, right? But when you choose to look at it like this is a lot of pressure, you're not going to authentically put things out that you normally would. So I think, again, if they're following you already, they're following you because they like the content that you're putting out.
I want to add to what she said real quick. When it's so true, when you feel pressure to put content out, I've had those times. I'm putting content out and then I watch it and I'm like, it's so freaking bad. And then it doesn't get views, doesn't get any engagement. I'm like, well, yeah, because it was really bad. It was like I was forcing it. It wasn't just coming from me authentically. So that's why I've like totally like deleted social media to get a break from it. And then I come back strong all the time. And like my next 10 videos, there's those bangers, so true.
But I want to add in what I was telling you, just record the day. Because a lot of people, like I was mentioning, they just really want to be a part of your day, your lifestyle. So when you show like, hey, I'm moving from this property, and I'm going from this meeting to this meeting. You guys seen the day in the life that's trending right now? That stuff is going viral because people are like, yo, I'm working a 9 to 5, or I only had 2 clients, or I only had this many products selling every day. And then they see like, oh, you selling 1,000 products, 1,000 of payment processing, a bunch of Airbnbs. And you're seeing it's like, wow, this is actually like, this is amazing. So that kind of content hits. And now it's organic and it doesn't feel pressure because you're just recording your day. And now it just goes viral. But it's not pressure, it's not forced because I just had somebody record me doing this meeting where I just propped the camera up on the tripod and just recorded me walking in this house and just going through it.
Remote.
James, one thing I love about what you do is like the narrow focus on using social media to build a business, like strategy I really appreciate. So I want to go back to cooking Derek on the basketball court back back then. And what did, like, when you were first, you said you talked about having a lot of organic business as a lawyer, and what did that progression look like when you first got on social media to where you're at today?
So I got really lucky, all jokes aside, like living with this guy, and we had 3 or 4 other guys at this apartment complex in Philly that were social media experts, right? They were all making tons of money on social media. 17 of us went on a trip to Bali. This was in like 2019, stayed at a villa, and like I learned social media game, right? That's when they taught me about shout outs, and I implemented like this Dream 100 concept where I reached out to like 100 people that I thought were working with my clients, right? Or had attention from my clients. And then I started collaborating with those people and learning these hacks of how to grow the page. And that was when I adopted that student mindset of social media. And I really was able to scale to 7 figures in my business with no marketing budget. Yeah, maybe paying a little bit for the collaborations, but no real marketing budget. The downside of your business being all organic, Cody and I were talking about this yesterday. If it's all organic, it's not totally scalable. I think Devin's going through this right now too, where it's like you're making money, things are great, but the path to growing it isn't completely clear. And so when you get to that point, I think, and a lot of times this is going from 7 to 8 figures, it's $1 into Instagram ads, I'm going to make $3 back. And it takes a ton of iteration. It's like talk about the J curve of investing, where it's like, initially you're going to lose a bunch of money trying to figure out that paid advertising strategy. And you're going to have to iterate, like, is it the hook of the video? Is it the landing page? Is it the audience that you're targeting? And you might lose money trying to figure that out. But the beautiful thing is once you find an ad and an audience and a landing page that works, you can start pumping money into that thing. And it can be something with some of my ads where we've run them for 4 or 5 years and they've just been profitable the whole time. And it was almost like once that happened for me and that kind of aha happened in my brain, I've really put a lot less effort towards the organic content, because when I view the highest and best use of my time, putting up a video that I know is going to be like buried way down in my feed 5 months later isn't super important. But if I can spend some of my time trying to come out with a new ad that then my team can run for 3 or 4 years, that's extremely, high use of my time. And so that's kind of how it's changed over the years.
You literally can't scale without ads. Like organic, you can scale up, but it's going to be a limit. Because even if you look at the algorithm, only but so many people want to see your posts. So if you think about it, you can post as much as you want, but only a percentage of people on Instagram are actually going to see it. But when you have an ad, you can scale it. Okay, I know my CPL is $4 or $5, $6, whatever it is. Now you know what the show up rate is. Now you know how many people actually show up to a call. If you got a BSL, you can actually predict this stuff. You have data. So now I know I can just throw more money into it. So I know $2,000 a day is going to lead to this because I got the exact data. And every single day, you know exactly whether it's you looking at how many book calls are looking at, how many people sent you DMs, you're looking at how many products you sold. It's going to be the exact same thing every single day. So where it gets to the point where we didn't hit this number today, or I didn't get this many messages, or I didn't get this many book calls, something's off. But you can't do that with more game. It's going to cap out at a certain point.
The one thing I would just add too is I know there's some people, I've had a couple conversations here where people hear this point and then they're like, but I'm trying paid ads over and over and over and I can't get them to work. And the thing I would say to you is like, people in your industry have gotten them to work. So in your mind saying paid ads don't work is not true. What's true is you haven't figured out your formula yet. Keep testing.
Or you got the ads in the back and isn't right. People money coming in or the leads coming in. But now we were talking about this before. Now the leads are falling through the hole in the bucket because you got all these leads coming in. You got a good CPL, you got all this stuff. But now when people opt in, it gets lost somewhere. Nobody's following up. The automation doesn't work. Something's happening. So I seen people that have some great ads. Like, I'm not making any money. It was well because you got 1,000 people that opt in, but they only talk to 100 of them. The other 900 just...
How many of you guys do paid ads? And then how many of you guys do all organic? Paid ads? All organic.
I just started paid ads, so I'm going through the learning curve.
Yeah.
records and knowing us.
Devin, you want to share us a little bit about the learning curve? Paid ads for you?
Yeah, so I'm in this mental block right now. I was telling Top Dog about this. I built everything I had off organic. All my followers, like everything I did with business, it was all organic content, organic leads, everything. So I'm like making a good amount of money, not spending any. I'm like, this is amazing. Just got to make more content. And then I took like a year off basically with the birth of my daughter. I wanted to really spend time with her. So I just let the momentum train kind of stop. And trying to get that momentum back is really, really difficult. So I'm like, all right, I got to start doing some ads. And I've lost a lot of money. And it's a mental block. It's a mindset block that I have right now because it's like, do I put more money into it? Because I'm just losing money. Should I just go back to organic? So I'm going through the struggle right now of like how to manage that and how to figure them out. And it's difficult. It's not easy to figure out the ads. And then to your point, you get the ad figured out. And now there's so many steps behind it where you have a drip campaign. You have them going to the right landing page. This landing page doesn't work, maybe because there's too many words. Maybe this one word needs to be changed. A lot of what I do is I try to keep things super, super, super simple. One word might just be confusing to people. So that might be the one thing that's not like getting them through the whole funnel. So it's just a lot to figure out.
One thing I want to say to you on your ad, so are you leading the ads like a webinar or something? So one thing is you have to make it sound a fifth grader can understand. That's one. The second thing is, do you have like a bridge offer or something, a trip? So when they sign up for
What's a bridge offer?
so when they sign up for their webinar, does it go straight to the like thank you page or does it go somewhere else?
It goes to the thank you page.
See, that's the problem. So when they sign up for the webinar, you need to have a pop-up page that says, so you're doing IUL, right? Infinite Bank, whole life. Hey, look, before you go ahead and register, you just registered for the webinar. We're all set for Thursday, 8 o'clock. But what I want you to do to get the best experience of this Thursday, I want you to download this whole life cheat sheet. It's $10, usually $100.
So that's the thing is like when people hear whole life, most people are just the blinders go on. They tune everything out. So I don't use anything like that. I talk about wealth, tax,
Whatever.
like,
Just something.
it's leading to a webinar.
Yeah.
I don't say anything about whole life, anything about infinite banking. It's about building wealth, recapturing your money, paying less in taxes. You want to learn more? Sign up for my free webinar.
When you go to the webinar, is it all words? You got videos. When you go to the landing page, is it all words? You got videos.
There's a intro video at the top after a couple words. There's a couple words at the top. Right below, there's like a 60-second intro video giving kind of a teaser of what they're going to learn in the webinar. And then from there, there's a drip campaign that goes out to like remind them about the webinar. And then once the webinars go out, there's each webinar gets sent out to each person that registered. The whole point is to try to get them around the campfire of what I talk about, get into more of my content. So that way they learn a little bit and then they get on a call to talk about the whole life. So they have a knowledge base before they.
I think you should add that bump. So that way, that might cover 30% of your ad spend. So you spend $1,000 a day, that might be $300 in little low tickets that come in. But now you download that list of all those low ticket people because a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. They bought once, they're gonna buy again. So now I got that whole list of people that paid $10, $20. You can have your team re-hit them first.
So you're saying so the ads go to just a webinar, free webinar. I'm not selling anything yet.
Yeah, but as soon as they hit register, it's gonna be another page that pops up and say, hey, you are confirmed for this Thursday. But what I wanna do for you is I wanna give you access to this cheat sheet that gives you
Like an ebook or something.
Whatever. I don't know your business or whatever, but it might be $10. So the person, $10 to make my experience better, I'll pay that. But now you're subtracting all the serious people out from all the people that's not gonna show up anyway. But $10 times, I don't know how many people, that might cover 30% of your ad spend. So you have a good upsell, you're gonna cover about 8 to 9% of the people that watch the views. So if you have 1,000 people that view, that's 8%, 9%, that's a good conversion. Or overall, like 30% of people buy them. So now you're coming into the gate, okay, I'm a little more excited because I already got 30% of my money back. You know what I mean? We'll probably talk about more, but 100%.
Like this phone, this
Saying like an ebook, but then also like, so when people are listening into your webinar, kind of going through this process, right? Is there something that you could put in front of them that would allow them to be a little bit more engaging in the process, taking notes, prompting them to really kind of go through this webinar, but be interactive with it, and then have something that they could essentially submit to you at the end of it, right? If they're really following through and they're really interested and they're taking notes or they're applying their life to, what you're saying, is there any way that they could essentially kind of put that information onto something and then they could submit it back to you? And then you kind of have a profile on all of these individuals that at least listen to the whole webinar, right? They're like, cool, I want that prompts the next step.
It's the segmentation, right? It's saying the people who pay the $10, they're the most likely to convert. And so maybe you have a special sequence or white glove treatment for those people because you're like, oh, they not only signed up for the webinar, but now they also paid the $10 for the cheat sheet. They seem to be signaling that they are pretty interested in this. And so Derek, like, he's doing this now for a bunch of people that have their own offers, right? Like yours is the infinite banking offer. People have different offers. And I think part of why his kind of back end thing makes sense is because no matter what you're selling, it's these little hacks or tricks like this to follow up and segment the audience that, you know, I think can turn what is like an upside down performing ad campaign into a campaign that's making a positive ROI.
But Cody has a lot of experience, so I want to hear Cody as well. Want to give Cody a mic?
I was going to ask on what is the offer at the end of the webinar? Is it just to book a call for the
There's no real offer. I'll sprinkle it in. So like if you want to learn more, check out my YouTube. If you want to get on a call, like the webinar is a different topic each week. So for instance, last week was how like I have trust set up, and then there's succession plans within my trust that dictate how the money's spent once I pass away, once my wife does, my parents, tax-free money comes in. Like that was the topic. And then another topic might be nothing about life insurance. It might just be about like next week I'm doing self-directed IRAs with Greg Erlini. He owns a trust. Yeah.
Don't switch it up.
Yeah, I would switch. You're adding a lot of variable. I would find like test webinars down until you find one that works, and then you're just like a dancing bear, just doing the same thing over and over and over and over, telling the same jokes, the same things over and over again. Because then you could identify what's working in the webinar, what call to actions work, what stories work, what hook work to keep people in, what the take rate was towards the end of the webinar. So that would be one of the things is like and just keep testing to see like as you're doing the webinar, when are people dropping off of the webinar? When are they most engaged? And like studying those like game film of like what's working, so you can have something that's duplicatable. Because you want to have the same. You don't want to have so many variables because then it's like how do you know what's working or what's not? So that would be one of the first things is like having the same thing, but then also having you got to get a call to action at the end. Like, is the goal what's the goal? To sell the life insurance, or do you have something else that you
The goal is
ultimately
to get educated on infinite banking. Because like infinite banking, you guys all heard it yesterday. It's like one of those things where with Brent, his presentation's like an hour and a half. You had to condense it to an hour, so he's like speeding through it. It's something you really have to understand before you even want to get on a call to learn more.
Yeah.
So the whole goal of the webinar is to get them more into like my YouTube, get them into my Instagram so they can consume more of the content, learn more. And then the final funnel is like what my organic funnel is, which is getting them to that presentation. I have that presentation. They watch that. At the end, they book a call with the team.
But the other thing is, on your webinar, you're only going to have at best 30 to 40% people show up.
Yeah,
Think
right.
about the other 60 to 70% of people that see it. And typically, people need to see the webinar 2 or 3 times very often. So now you keep switching it up. The other 70% of people that didn't show up, almost catch the next one. Oh wait, it's something different.
Yeah.
So now you kind of left.
Each webinar gets sent out to everyone who registered as a recording. So
I
that's
still got it.
I was the same webinar and just like keep testing it until you find what works. But like for you, it's probably just like book a call is like the call to action at the end of the webinar. Do you have anyone like I know you're not a big fan of building like having like the teams, but like do you have someone that's like outbounding people that are registering for the webinar? Anyone that registers, every single person that registers for the webinar, I would be outbounding before the webinar, after the webinar. Like they're in the system, they're getting hammered. Because the point, it's like you have 30% show rate is good. So 70% of people didn't show up. So it's like having somebody that's outbounding to like set those people up for a call, or they can try to pull forward and get them to come to the next webinar, or they can, at least be building that relationship with them. And that's something that, I think will really increase the amount of people that end up booking calls, because you're having people that are actually outbounding those people that are registering. Because there's a ton of money being left on the table right now by not reaching out to those people. And then with your email marketing too, it's hard to do email marketing when you have like 20 different topics. So it's like you could build one sequence to the one webinar to get the best conversion possible by having the same sequence to the same type of people to the same funnel. So you can get your data down to know why it's converting better or why it's converting worse. Because right now there's just too many variables, I would say, to know like what's actually, moving the needle.
Experiment, you had a hypothesis. And
He doesn't look like he focused in high school.
Jared, I
with a
think
D
your
apple.
offer would work on a webinar too. I don't know if you've tried that or talked to Derek or Cody yet about it, but the offer you presented yesterday, basically what you gave to us yesterday is perfect for a
It
webinar.
was actually the first time I ever did.
Really?
That?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday was the first time I ever did it. It was because Tessa was like, you have to do this and you have to have some type of offer on it. So it was literally the first time I've ever done it. So I don't even know what it is yet. I just know that it's typically those conversations, just in general, is what I wake up in the morning thinking about and not my business. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but at least my businesses are running.
Yeah.
So I'm like able to do some more fun stuff now.
Is yours a webinar? Oh, you want to tell everybody about?
Yeah, I do a weekly
I was
dancing
thinking
bear. It's great.
Yeah. Tell everybody about. Are you using your paid traffic and what you're doing with paid traffic?
Yeah, so it's funny because actually last year I had just started running traffic when we were talking.
Yeah.
I remember griping about how much money I was spending on ads and how uncomfortable it was, and then we were spending my like daily budget or my monthly budget like daily.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well this isn't so bad.
And you stuck with it.
And yeah, and so I like let's see, I think last month we spent 91,000 in Facebook ads. We brought in like 348 in revenue, and it was probably the worst month of the last three. But I mean, we did 1.2 million in Q1 off of a webinar. And it's just adds to, I do the same webinar every week. I make like one slide change here or there, a little bit of change on the call to action and see. And you're right on. It's right around 30 to 35% show rate, 10 to 12% book rate for calls, 55 to 60% show rate on the calls. And then our conversion on that's like 62%. And it does well. So it's just kind of the
You would take my seat up.
it is uncomfortable, and you'll fuck it up, and Stripe will then put a 25% hold on your shit. I know. But like it happens, right?
I think Dave's actually speaking to something very specific. He has a very, very specific ICA, which is your ideal client avatar. So his approach to social media, not knowing it, I think is different than a lot of people. He is not a generalist at all.
I'm speaking to me. I'm speaking to 25 to 35-year-old dudes who are in the military. They're, 6% of my audience is females, right? So I get to basically just talk shit online, and it's great. I don't have to be PC. I've tried to get myself canceled. It hasn't worked. It's great. Post shit with a flamethrower. I mean, whatever. It's wonderful.
You do post stuff in like very short.
Oh yeah,
shorts
there's a
and-
photo of me floating around in like American flags.
Is it
American flag stuff. He's a flamethrower.
I had a blue
cigar. Yeah, it's wild, but it works. Yeah, I mean I would agree. We did a couple different webinars. We tried a couple different things, and there was just no way to know what the problem was, and there's no way to know what the problem is. It's one thing to just change a hook on like 7 videos and see which one converts best to the webinar. But if your webinar changes every month, there's no way to know where where your disconnect is. And to their point, for one, I love the bridge offer. I just took it. I'm like, oh, why am I
You're not doing that?
I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what I'm doing is I'm having them comment. I'm giving them all my free book, so they're getting into my flow already right away. But I'm like, I have a million like $10 lead offers. Why am I not offering them that sell? But for the other piece, like, yeah, if you can't quantify where it's going, and then I would challenge like getting them into the free community for the trust and everything is great. But if you have a sales team, you could even do, hey, if you want more information, like just book a free strategy call or whatever.
Right.
And you could hook them right in. And on that, you could have, your top 3 resources or whatever. Like the webinar builds the trust. I don't think you need to push them to more free content from there. You should be able, the closers I'm working with are hovering around 50 to 60% close rate on anyone who shows up for a call because of that way.
We were optimizing it first for just booked calls. So the ads were going to people just booking a call with the team. And that was a nightmare because they get on a call and they're like, fuck internet banking. They saw a 60-second ad.
Yeah, so the Webby solves it. The webinar.
When you send from a webinar to another YouTube, they're just watching another webinar over again. It's just like, how many times I watch the same movie?
If you come to a webinar from YouTube, I'm going to go try to run ads to your YouTube and steal your clients. I don't do IULs, but like that's what I hear is like, oh, there's a warm lead floating around his audience. You should do Webby to build the trust, then Webby straight to sales.
I want Luke to share because he's in this world. He's in PR, and I know he has some good insight.
I actually want to speak to what Jared mentioned, and I'm going to use your own words against you. You mentioned is that true, or is that a story that you're saying? And you mentioned that his is a little bit different because he has a very specific avatar. And just for context, I've been in the space for about a decade now. We've worked with over 1,500 clients. I've built up my Instagram to 100,000, but I really got, frankly, two things happened. I, number one, got burned out on creating content, and number two, all my business was directly from my brand building, and it wasn't scalable and sustainable. So I frankly took a break from building a lot of content and build out the outbound stuff. But my point in saying all of this is that what we found for our clients is the number one first thing you do when you're starting to build your brand with it is get really clear on an ideal customer profile that you want to speak to. So maybe taking 2 or 3 people. And everyone should have those numbers of this age demographic, this experience, this income level, this everything. And you really should understand that avatar's problems, their goals, their dreams, their challenges, their fears better than they do. And all of the content that you're creating should be speaking directly to those avatars. And everyone has that, and so maybe you don't know exactly what that is yet for your offer, but if everyone takes time to go and identify who that is, and then you create content for that specific person, that's what gives you the best conversion rates when it comes to actually trying to grow the business specifically. If you're just trying to grow a general audience to grow an audience, then having broad content that can work to grow an audience. But if you're trying to get leads, conversions, and sales, you want to be super specific because your services are going to solve a very specific problem. And so if you're speaking directly to that problem, when people hear this content, they say, oh, this is for me. And so taking the time to really gain clarity on those avatars, what we do is we literally write them out and we will print them out, and it's when we're creating content, it's for, and we're imagining that we're only making it for this one person. And then you build it out and then you do that at scale. And that's how it's much easier to be able to go and get results, frankly, from a lot of this content. So
I have a roadblock because I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have several businesses. So my roadblock is I don't know what to post. I don't know what to post. So I don't know if anyone can help me how to overcome that roadblock. I do investments. I just do a lot. I don't really determine what.
What do you want to get? No, that's the only thing.
So I just get clients on real estate. Sometimes to get off market leads, so I just don't know.
Is it all real estate related? So there is that key link.
Enjoying this.
What are you currently posting?
That's the thing. I just go back and forth. I do a lot of my fix and flips, and then I go back and I do a lot of my general real estate investments for my real estate company, the realtor side. So I go back and forth with the real estate and the realtor, the investments and the realtor side. That's the main thing.
A lot of those go hand in hand though. So you could kind of going back to a day in the life. So I'm a realtor. This is my real estate portfolio. These are my fix and flips. So you're putting all of them together. And that makes sense. So finding a way that kind of correlates all of them. Could you do something along those lines?
I could. Yeah. I don't know why I overthink this too much. But
one thing that I would say to do is so over the next 90 days, think about what those different things are that you're currently posting, and more importantly, who you're trying to get in front of. And pick a couple of categories, pick a couple of things that'll sort of be your pillars. And over 90 days, create a bunch of reels that fit all of those different things. After 90 days, look at what performed best, and then take that and continue to iterate on what performed best. Because at the end of the day, we can post all kinds of different things, but if everyone is really resonating with when you specifically talk about stuff towards realtors, maybe that's going to be a little bit more where you focus some of the content in. But I will say with reels being as popular as they are right now, I find that you have so much more flexibility than you once did. I think it used to be that you needed to sort of pick a niche, a topic, and really focus on that. But because reels give you so much potential to get in front of non-followers, you can post multiple different types of content, multiple different topics, all to the same platform, and still be getting a bunch of reach and collecting a bunch of data. I do think it's best to try and kind of zone in on a few, but that's what I'd say is do it over a 90-day segment and pick maybe 3 or 5 that you're going to focus on, and then reassess and kind of build it out from there.
When so you're trying to get realtor clients, right? In one of your businesses. So you should think about when are people ready to have serious conversation? Is it 12 o'clock in the afternoon? Probably not, because your clients are working. They're working at 9 to 5. That's how they're able to get approved for hours. So they're probably a good time to talk to them. Probably 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, or after 5, after 6 o'clock. So this is what I would do. This worked. I would literally take my phone, make a black screen, take a picture of your arm, and I would say, if you are someone that is looking to purchase a home in the next 30 days, send me a DM now. Or if you could even say, this Dr. Burr, I was about to say, if you're making over 100 grand, like you want to be specific. And now you're going to have all those people reach out to you at that specific time. Like even if he said, hey, are you up right now, just got out of the military and you're trying to figure out your next move, send me a DM right now. And that way it's specific. But all these people are already up, they're out of their job, they're out of whatever they're doing. We call it infomercial. So I'll post that at 11 o'clock at night. 11 o'clock at night, you're up just thinking. You're either sitting there watching TV, you're up just thinking like, man, what's my next move, my next thing? And that pops up on my screen. I actually do want to buy a house. Let me reach out to you now. Let me start this conversation now. But if you got like a mani chat, the automation, like when you have mani chat? So mani chat is when somebody reaches out to you in a comment, it automatically responds back to them before you have to do that.
Based on the keyword.
Yeah, based on the keyword. So you can say DM me buy or DM me list. So when they send a DM, the automation will come right back and it can be book a call. So now you wake up in the morning with 6 book calls. That's what.
To run ads, like
No, that's a post. Just a story. Yeah, that's just a story. But that wording gotta be specific. I'm talking about like literally a black screen. When they comment or they DM you the word buy, you want to automate send an automation. Hey, great. Look, let's talk more about this. Here's my calendar link. Then you wake up in the morning, and you got like 6 book calls that you can send out to the team or you can take them.
You can also see on your professional dashboard, like when the bulk of your followers are on.
Yeah.
So you can cherry pick like, oh, they're on mostly at 7 a.m. And then it tails off or whatever it is. You can start like really targeting those people based on when they're on.
So I have a question for you. Because I have a roadblock similar to Janet where I don't really know what to post. So I'm really passionate about multiple things. So I'm like constantly in the gym. Health is like a big passion of mine. But what I do to generate revenue is real estate. And then another big passion of mine is like just those feel good videos, like motivation, inspiration, and stuff like that. So I feel like my platform is a mixture of all three. And I kind of like, well, where am I going with this? I sometimes I get leads from Instagram, and then I get a lot of people at DM like, oh my gosh, you just made my day with like that post. So I don't really know where to go with it. So would you suggest like the 90 days? Like I don't really know what to do. It's like that robot, and then I get burnt out, and then I like stop posting for a few weeks, and then I'm like, shoot, now
I would definitely start with kind of outlining that, and then I always also love start from where you are with what you have. I think a huge mistake that happens on social media is people are not posting consistently. Yeah. They listen to a conversation like this. They say, okay, I'm going to do it. And then you commit to like a post a day on every single platform. And you burn out really quickly and you go through, I call it roller coaster posters because you're just like constantly kind of going up.
I'm so guilty of that. I have it multiple times.
So I would commit to a time frame and start small and gradually build up. So that could be 3 posts a week on one platform. And as it starts to become more natural to you, then adding to it. Obviously the goal, especially if it is generating business for you, is to increase that. But I find that when you do it that way, you can build more sustainably. And then it also makes it easier to track, oh, I'm getting a result. I'm much more motivated to act when I'm getting a result. Same thing in the gym. If I'm going to the gym and I'm seeing a result, I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So the same thing is true with social media. And I feel like that'll help a lot to gradually build it while also staying, consistent, not kind of slipping off.
What I've done recently, this has worked really, really well on stories, is I was huge into fitness like 10 years ago doing competitions and like my abs had abs, right? So I hadn't had a carb since 04. Like what I've been doing is like, preview, I've been making like clickbait content on stories. Like I'll put up an old picture where like I'm just jacked. And then a lot of people see it because they're either going to comment or they're going to be like, how'd you get that good shape? I just saw you a week ago. Or what's going on? And it's like a lot of people view it. I've had like 50,000 people view a story where like most stories will get 10, 8, 9. But then right after that one, it's like clickbaity. I'll put a call to action, like a story. I want someone to really get into a funnel or something. So 50,000 people see this. They're going to go to the next one. Now they see something I want them to see. So it could be something where you're at the gym.
I got abs from incident baking. That's actually fun. That's fun.
Infinite abs.
Like what does that mean?
Like if I want to get someone onto my webinar, right? Something like that. So I'll have the abs picture up or whatever. It doesn't have to be the abs. It can be like flashy cars, something that like gets people to like view it, comment, whatever, like it, algorithm pushes it out to more people. The following story is something where they're going to get into a funnel. They're going to go somewhere where I want them to go. Because if I put that one first, it's not going to do well. But the clickbaity one first, and then the next one that follows is one that has a call to action. Does that make sense?
Yeah.